Good afternoon, everybody, and Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas, everybody! Hey.
We're super excited to be with you this Christmas afternoon. It is a beautiful day here on Rietspruit Game Reserve.
A little bit windy.
It's a little bit windy, but we'll take it. We have a tinsely Christmas tree over here, just in time for the season. We were designing a more bush authentic Christmas tree, but unfortunately we had some mishaps, as happens when you live in the wild. So this is our makeshift Christmas tree, and considering that it's a leadwood and lives to ancient years and has so many traditional uses and traditional stories attached to it, we thought it was a very fitting Christmas tree. So we're going to head out this afternoon.
Yep.
We're taking you from our Christmas home. We're heading out to do some exploring. Hopefully, we are hoping for some big cats. Welcome to our little home on Christmas. We're hoping for some big cats, maybe some cheetahs or some lions. We did go for a walk this morning, as is customary for Gareth and I to go for Christmas walks, or all walks most days. And there were some tracks of lions that moved through camp in the early hours of this morning. So we're hoping that we can find something furry and something big and something with claws.
We're going to start off by looking at Mamba Dam. Just have a look and see if there's anybody there. And then on the radio there's been a little bit of confusion around cheetah. So I think after checking Mamba Dam, we're going to have a little look around. Well, we're going to head towards Sequoia area and then try and get a bit of an understanding of what's actually going on the radio with cheetah. Whether or not the cheetah are on the BCC, that's too many C's.
No.
BCC, yeah.
BCC side.
BCC side, or on our side. And then we'll take it from there.
Folks, you gotta love that the Christmas cheer is bringing out Gareth's elf ears. You gotta be tucked into your cap if you want to look like Father Christmas with a ginger beard. Mamba Dam is often the place that we will look for lions if there have been tracks in our area of where we live. So here we are, Mamba Dam. One of the big water sources on the Rietspruit Game Reserve. There are some Egyptian geese on the opposite side of the dam. Definitely a strong species in the area that seems to be monopolizing, taking over the spots of so many other duck species, but it's not a lion, as we'd hoped. We'd hoped to find the lions flat out here, doing what lions do best, relaxing. It would be very appropriate to find lions sleeping on Christmas Day, because at this time in the afternoon, most of us are trying to sleep off our Christmas lunch full bellies as well. If we've been lucky enough, of course, to have a good Christmas lunch. If not, well, we're happy that we can share the Christmas cheer with you. Nice to see some Egyptian geese.
Okay. No lions.
No lions.
No lions, at least that we can see.
It is thick in summer.
And there could be lion in denser shade. Just trying to keep out of the heat. Although today has been a little bit of a respite from the heat that we've had of late.
Christmas time is always the hottest time of the year here, so we expect, unlike most, well, northern hemisphere countries, we in South Africa, Christmas is characterized by incredible heat, and usually if you're lucky enough to swim in the swimming pool and a great watermelon feast, Lots of summer traditions that we associate with Christmas. We don't understand a white Christmas in Africa. Christmas is...
It's a pretty foreign
concept
of Christmas for us that live down in the southern hemisphere. Snow is not something that we experience.
Not very often.
And definitely not on Christmas. Let me find out better details on those cheetahs.
Yeah, good plan.
Is their station still with the cheetah on the southern fence line?
Hi.
Can you just go with those details on the location? Are those cheetahs on our side or on the BCC side?
Yeah, BCC side, just approaching the log. I can see you coming from the western side. Keep coming east towards Yalarita. You'll book him there.
Okay, copy, you're not seeing me there. It's just inquiring about where the cheetah actually are. Thank you.
We're a little too far out for them to have seen us. They've obviously seen somebody else in the area.
Yeah. So I think because the animal is on the other side of the fence line, we're going to come up with a different idea rather than going to go and see cheetah that are on the other side of a fence. We'll see what else we can find. Maybe we'll go somewhere along the Sunsloot River. Maybe, well, the Sunsloot. I always say river.
It is a bit of a river.
It is a river. But maybe we'll go and check that camera trap, retrieve that SD card, and see what has been playing around on the rocks since we've set it up a few days ago.
When did we set that camera trap up? Ages. Ages like a few months, ages like... Okay, so the camera trap's been up for about 6 weeks.
There's an Impala in the road in front of us.
She looks like she's got an oxpecker on her back.
Is it an oxpecker or a scar?
A scar. It's tricky to see from our angle now, but I think it's an oxpecker that she's got there.
It also looks like maybe it's a younger Impala, maybe last year's lamb.
So she will have this year without any offspring. Lucky girl, because from next year on she'll be producing offspring every single season until, well, pretty much until she dies. There are very few mammals that live beyond their reproductive years. There's 3, in fact, and we are one of them. Others are elephants and whales. So she doesn't have a baby this year because this is lambing season. That's when we expect to see all the impalas having their offspring.
Looks like they're feeding there on some nice green grass. Hopefully they stay.
No.
I thought maybe they were drinking because all of them had their heads down in one little patch. But they found some nice green grass.
Look at the scar on that female. Right. No, she's moved away.
Coming up after all the rains that we've had. But just the way that they were all congregated in one little area, I thought they were drinking.
It's always possible that animals could be drinking in the bush this time of the year because we've had quite a bit of rain. Obviously, it being the middle of December means that we're well into our wet season. Our summer season is when we get our rainfall, and that means that the puddles, the seasonal pans and puddles have filled up. So in winter, we expect to see our animals at 1 or 2 dams to get their water intake. But in summer, any little nick in the ground, any hollow, any depression will hold water. And that means that animals spread out quite a lot. And so when Gareth says he thought they were drinking water, it's not unfeasible that they could be drinking in the middle of the bush. It would be nice to catch up with the Rietspruit pride if we could look for them this afternoon. I'm sure they must be somewhere.
Maybe they've gone on to the western parts of the reserve. Because there's people with a cheetah from next door in the eastern parts of the southern fence line. So maybe the lions came from Haste last night and went along the western fence line north. But we don't know, tracks have been tough after the recent rains. And there actually haven't been a lot of people driving around. Let's go up here.
Shall we?
Yep. There haven't been a lot of people on the radio, which means not a lot of people are driving around. It's been really hot. And the threat of rain has maybe kept some of the usual characters that drive around the Rietspruit Game Reserve.
They drive?
They drive.
They drive.
Yeah, there haven't been a lot of vehicles driving
They
around.
roam. Oh, you're talking about people.
Yeah, so we haven't got a lot of tracks or sightings that have been recorded.
Yeah.
And I think that is an effect of people trying to stay away from the weather. Either the heat or the threat of rain.
Not us. We're out.
It's actually a really pleasant afternoon this afternoon. It's cool. There's no real threat of rain. It's really pretty. There goes a duiker.
Some Impala on the road in front of us. Dashing off. Dashing through the bush.
You can carry on with that.
With
Victoria.
absolutely no snow. Over the termite mounds they go. Laughing all the way. Ridiculous. Of course,
They're not sticking around.
now that I've made a fool of myself, they're not hanging around to even be seen. To even prove that I was at least a valid singing my ridiculous rendition of A Christmas Carol. Bless you.
Excuse me.
If we had to pull sleighs in South Africa in the wild, what antelope do you think would pull them?
Kudus.
Kudus. Why?
Because they're the most similar to deer.
No way.
Yes.
I think it would be waterbuck.
That's a
Because
fair argument.
they're shaggy, so they look like they could endure the snow. They have horns that don't spiral like a kudu's. They have horns that are curved, which I know is not reindeer-like, but they're curved, they're stately. They have an interesting sign on the back with a round ring. Andrew on camera is saying, what about an earland? Which is actually not a good one, not a bad one either. They're kind of clunky though. I don't feel like they would have the ballerina finesse of the sled pulling species.
What do you all think?
Maybe a zebra, imagine. That would be a truly African experience.
That would be an African one.
A zebra pulled sled.
What does everybody think? What would be the best species to pull a sled? Sled.
A sled.
A sled.
Sled.
What am I saying?
Santa's sled.
And why? Why do you think that animal is best suited to it? Zebras are cool.
Zebras would be cool because they have that horse vibe, but
Yeah.
they're very African,
And they're very
quintessential,
charismatic.
charismatic. They've got a bit of attitude, so you could ascribe different personalities to them. I think it could be fun. I wouldn't want to be in control of that.
Oh, there's a baby
There's a
Impala.
lamb, there's a little lamb. Oh, it's going to be tricky to get on camera.
There's some more impalas. There is a little one. It's
Quite
just
concealed.
run off in front of the rest. Let's see. Maybe we'll catch up with them down the road. When they are little like this, they do tend to try and stay away from any potential threat. And while we are not a threat, they still perceive us as something different that's coming along. And when they are little, They want to open up the distance between themselves and us, just in case. There, is it there? Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Okay, Andrew, there's a good gap. Sure. Look at that little one.
Oh, it's
No.
running off. Oh, it's just not possible at the moment.
With my daughter, Skanganzi, on
Unfortunately, it's very tricky to put them
along the
on camera. They're dashing away.
And that's unfortunate.
7 minutes out.
I think what it is they're super shy in their first couple of weeks as they gain their strength and their confidence, and then they learn to use their legs and they become a little bit more, well, easy to view. But you can scarcely blame an Impala lamb for being nervous, because everything wants to eat it. It's a tiny little vulnerable antelope for the first couple of weeks of its life, and then it really comes into its own, doesn't it?
It does. It's amazing how quickly they find their feet and how quickly they can move about when they're only a couple of weeks old.
Yeah.
And days old, actually.
And we've seen quite a few. I mean, it's mid-December now. The first one Andrew was the first one in our team to see one. And he saw it, I think, around the middle of November. So about a month the impalas have been dropping their lambs, and they do have a synchronized conception. So when we see one, we expect to see many.
Taking a look at the three rhinos could be south animals move into the block towards the river visual contact log.
Oui?
Kudu stop.
In Kaya.
Kudu stop. But they've lost
In Kaya.
visual.
Yeah.
Last question, what you go to?
So Rietspruit Game Reserve is made up of, for those of you who don't know, of 3 properties. In the center southern portion we have quite a large reserve known as Blowbank, and then above Blowbank we have a reserve known as Leadwood, and then out to the side in a big triangle we have a portion called Kaya. And those 3 reserves make up one large reserve known as the Rietspruit Game Reserve. And actually we don't drive in the triangle portion called Kaya. So often if you hear things on the radio and we say, oh, that's in Kaya, it means that we're unlikely to be able to see it unless it moves through the corridor onto the areas that we use. Where are you taking us, Gareth?
We're going to go down to Leopard Dam.
We love Leopard Dam.
We do. Have a look around. See if there's anything there. And then I just think I may have heard on the radio, though it was tough to make out, that maybe some male cheetah have been seen on the boundary. So when we get to Leopard Dam, we'll have a look, and then I'm just going to confirm that, and then that will decide. Well, that will sort of, we'll decide where to go from there, should I say. Whether we go north to the sun slope like we initially said we would, or if we go east to where these 2 cheetah have been found, if what I heard is correct. I can see Leopard Dam coming up through the trees in front of us, so maybe there's a surprise for us here. There's some people.
There's some humans.
That's a surprise.
Having a Christmas sundowner. That's not what we expected.
Yeah.
They're gonna know we're really in the spirit with
We're
our red jolly, holly jolly hats.
The station with the cheetah on the eastern fence line, just confirm that's on the Blowbank side.
Lighting is quite beautiful here.
Which is the station that called in the cheetah on the eastern fence line.
Fence semi here. Just come on the junction, sports place and the fence. The skangans are slowly heading east.
Copy, confirm they're on Blowbank, the 2 males.
Sports place, junction, eastern fence on Blowbank.
Copy, thank you, Sammy. Okay, those 2 male cheetahs are on our side, so we're going to make our way there.
Very exciting. I think for the last few Christmases, you've given me a leopard for Christmas every year. In fact, in our first year, you gave me a leopard that I'd never seen before, which is quite something for us. Because where we used to work, we used to see leopards frequently, but we'd see the same individuals because they're so territorial. So if you imagine an area, a property, and you imagine little splodges of color across the property, that's how leopard territories work. They're very sedentary animals, and though they move within their territories are, the cause of their territories often remain relatively unchanged. Of course, that's not entirely true, but for the sake of this conversation, it's fine. So on, I think it was 2021 or 2021, Gareth found me a leopard I'd never seen before, which is kind of a big deal. And then subsequently, I think we've had, except for the year that we were off for Christmas, which is a rarity, we've had a leopard every year for Christmas. And this year, maybe we're going to get lucky with a different kind of spot.
That would be a really nice treat on Christmas Day.
Well, I think this year we're going to have to enjoy some spotty cheetahs rather than some spotty leopards.
Yes, hopefully we get there in time and they don't go through anything too thick that we cannot get through.
That would be amazing. The other thing that would be super amazing, but I haven't seen on Rietspruit just yet, is spotted hyena. We heard them calling last night. It's like they were giving off their own Christmas carol. But we didn't hear them calling. We did hear them calling, we didn't see them. That, give me your best hyena, Gareth. Andrew's gonna have to tell us who's a better hyena. Oh.
Andrew's on the spirit. Andrew, you give us yours.
Christmas spirit. Andrew says he's just being honest, but we just think he's being brutal. Come on, we gotta go. That was good. Not really. Andrew's not impressed.
Cameramen are honest.
Cameramen are brutal, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Guides like to overinflate their abilities to do animal sounds as well as bird calls.
That's funny.
They often think they're very good at it. Meanwhile, in reality, it probably sounds similar to what we've just done.
Terrible. Okay, if you weren't doing a hyena, what would be your very best call, G?
No, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead.
Come on, you can do. Gareth can do. I can do. Andrew's saying we should do a wooden kingfisher.
I don't know if we can.
I think we can do a wooden kingfisher.
Victoria's selling us down. Yeah. That's good.
Okay, I think that wasn't like the worst. I've done worse. How about Gareth does a really good wood owl? No, Gareth does a really good hippo.
No, I'm not gonna
do your hippo.
I'll do a hippo if we see a hippo. How about that?
Okay.
Oh, you have to do it now.
What?
Come on, do your happy Christmas hippo. That's really good.
Everybody's going to tell us on a scale of 1 to 5, so there's not room for...
Mine's terrible.
Not too much room for judgment on how good we are.
Okay, what's another one? Can you do a leopard?
No.
I think I can try.
Okay.
That's a faraway leopard.
I need to find something to change the topic of conversation.
Are you feeling a little overwhelmed?
A little bit.
A little bit like you can't do all of the calls. Let me think. I tell you what's actually really tricky to do is an elephant. Can you do an elephant?
No.
No. I can't do an elephant. Maybe we can like attempt the grumble that. Gareth's just listening to the radio.
I don't know what Andreas found there.
Rhinos at Lodge Pan on Leadwood, far away.
So on our way towards the area that the cheetahs are currently in, I am driving a little bit quicker than maybe we would typically drive on a game drive, just because I want to get there in case they do move into thick stuff, as they are apparently on the move at the moment, which would be really nice to show all of you. There were some rhinos that were seen earlier, so let's keep an eye out as we go into this area. We are going to go onto a game reserve airstrip, and it's on that airstrip that these rhinos were seen earlier, and that is on the road that we need to take up towards the cheetahs. So there's always the possibility that the rhinos are still around. So we will do our best to see if we can relocate these rhinos. But they were left maybe half an hour ago when we left camp. So by now they could have gone anywhere really. But I'm hoping that they are eating the fresh green grass that's growing up alongside the airstrip. Rhinos do typically like shorter grass.
White rhinos.
White rhinos, yes, that's a good point. We also get black rhinos in this reserve, and black rhinos are browsers, so they would not be eating the grass along the airstrip.
They might be eating forbs that pop up among the grasses, which looks like they're grazing, but it will be little forbs of plants.
Yep.
But yeah, that's one of the key distinguishing features between a black and a white rhino, is a black rhino browses, eats leaves, and a white rhino grazes and eats grass.
This area, I don't know if you can see from the camera, but on the right hand side of the road there was a burn put through here
6 weeks ago, 2 months ago.
about 2 months ago, and it's looking lovely when you compare that to the left hand side of the road, which wasn't burnt. It's a little bit thicker.
Yeah, the grey on the side that's not burnt is so evident compared to the beautiful carpet of green that sprung up on the side that was burnt. Burning is so rejuvenating for this landscape. It just looks amazing.
And in areas like this you might find the grazing species come and spend a lot of time here,
Like rhino
like rhino,
and zebra.
because it's easy for them to feed on the new shoots of grass as it's coming up, compared to going to areas which has a whole lot of old grass, and they have to spend a little bit more time selecting what they eat. Whereas there's the
Rhino. Yeah. Merry Christmas, rhinos. There's 3 of them. That's amazing.
Station of the Duncan, joining you.
Looks like we have a bull and then a cow. And then, well, this is definitely a bull. I don't know what's behind him.
There we go, everybody. Just where they were. This is the airstrip we were talking about.
I was going to say, it looks like it could be some of our newer arrivals to the reserve. Lula and Kalula. We'll have to confirm when we get a bit closer. I can't see their horns just yet, but I think it could be them. Lula and Kalula are 2 females that are 6 years old and 7 years old. 7 years old and 8 years old. Now I'm getting all jumbled in my brain. But Lula and Kalula were both actually orphaned individuals. Look at him scent marking. He's spraying the ground there. Lula and Kalula were orphaned individuals. One of them was 4 months old when her mother was killed by poachers, and the other one was 5 months old. And they were sent to a sanctuary that kept them in a relatively generous enclosure just to make sure that they were fine for a couple of years. And then once they were strong, they were moved onto a wild reserve, which is our reserve. You can see fences. It is them. Look at that horn. It's cut flat, which is a key distinguishing feature between Lula and Kalula and the rest of our rhinos who have rounded, trimmed horns. But they were moved onto...
I'm going to just move a little bit closer. I don't know if you can all hear the flies.
The flies are buzzing around us.
There's a rhino midden not too far from us, which the male has...
defecated in.
Yeah, he's just serviced that midden. And a rhino midden is a pile of dung, and it's like a scent marking post for rhinos so that they can notify one another where they are. And just a little bit of a distinction here, the male is at the back and the two females that Victoria is talking about are in the front, the two newer members of the Rietspruit Game Reserve.
Anyway, like I was saying, Lula and Kalula were both orphaned and then put into a sanctuary where they were looked after for a couple of years. And then about 6 weeks ago, everything seems to have happened 6 weeks ago, but it really was about that long ago, they were brought to Rietspruit and put in a boma, which is a holding area for them to acclimatize. Then the rain hadn't fallen, and so we had quite dry grass, and so we wanted to keep them in an enclosed area so that we could supplement their feeding while they got used to the new smells and context of Rietspruit. But they had other ideas, and they actually broke out the night that they were brought here. So they were ready to be wild rhinos, and they're thriving in the wild. And now that we've had rain, the grass is lush, and they really are doing even better than we could have imagined. And folks, if you are wondering about this fence, this is not a fence that is containing any animals. This is actually just meant to fence off the airstrip that we're currently driving on. Watch this bull. He's stiffening his legs and he's spraying in the ground that he's just broken. Breaking ground with his back and front legs by stiffening them like that means that his scent actually seeps deeper into the ground and remains here longer. So if other bulls are in the area, they will know this area is spoken for by a big dominant bull. You'll notice also that he does have a collar on his left front leg. Very discreet, but we collar rhinos around their ankles because their necks are really not an appropriate place to put a collar.
Like we were saying just before we came up into this area, white rhinos are grazers, and if you are not familiar with animals too much, these are white rhinos. And you can see that this bull is grazing on the grass that's grown up on the edge of this airstrip here, and they have the perfect mouth structure for grazing, a nice broad lip, and they kind of act a little bit like lawnmowers in the bush, cropping the grass really short and low to the ground with those lips.
He's on a mission now. He doesn't want the females to get too far ahead of him. He was enjoying scent marking and grazing, and he saw that the girls had shot off, and he was like, no, 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 no. I will trail you. I will not let you out of my sight.
The stations, I'm with 3 white rhinos on the Boskamp airstrip. They are mobile north on the airstrip.
Maybe if we get ahead of them, we can look back on them and see the beautiful scenery of the Rietspruit, well, the view of the Rietspruit, which is the northern Drakensberg Mountains. Stunning. Rhinos and a view. Rhinos are a good view. She's big.
Just going to position a little bit better for Andrew here. With the mountains behind the rhinos.
Ah, that is gorgeous, isn't it? And the girls are going to come straight to us.
David closing down.
These two have settled so nicely. Initially, we were worried that they were going to be shy individuals. Where they had been kept, they had actually been quite shy, but there looks to be nothing shy about their behavior now. Which is really, really encouraging because it means we get to monitor them and really watch them blossom into successful, wild, free females, which is not what they were before. They're also at that perfect age. Neither of them have conceived and had calves before, but they are at primiparity. So they're at an age now where bulls are going to take interest in them, firstly because they knew females in the area, but also because they are probably both coming into their first season, ready to conceive. Wouldn't it be exciting if they rewrote the story of their families and were able to conceive and raise calves successfully? It's like she's only just realized we're here. Got the grass hanging out of her lip there. She's very cute. Oh, sorry, girl.
The rhinos don't have the best eyesight. Being a mega herbivore, large size, and grazers, with the large size, that big head, grazing all day to acquire enough food in a day, they don't need to have the best of eyesight. They've got really good sense of smell and really good hearing. So maybe she knew that we were here because she could have, well, she would have heard us. But maybe she was feeding a little bit, and then when she picked her head up, she kind of saw us and just realized that she was a bit closer than maybe she realized. But
She's relaxed.
You can see how low to the ground these white rhinos feed, and they're just cropping that grass right at ground level with those lips. They're not actually using any teeth to cut the grass. They are using their lips just to sort of pluck the grass up.
They've got amazing calluses on their lips though. Really help with cropping the grass and getting the best from their environment. They're so relaxed with us. This is such a contrast. Gareth was actually part of the team that darted and moved these these rhinos onto their moving trucks. And they were far more shy, weren't they, G? They were quite nervous.
It was just a process. There's a lot of people around, there's vehicles.
Stressful.
They're a little bit unsure as to what's going on. But it's really nice to see them like they are. I'm just going to reposition quickly, and then I think what we should do is just sit a little quietly for a little bit, and maybe you can actually hear them feeding.
Good idea.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the vehicle along this side, let them feed towards us, and then we'll just sit quietly, and hopefully you'll be able to hear them feeding.
They're heading north towards the corridor. Open lock at the moment.
So I don't know if you can hear them just yet, but they are getting closer to the car. So there's a little bit of wind around, but we're going to turn up the ambient mic on the camera, and maybe you'll be able to hear them feeding as well as them walking. Just going to sit quietly now as the wind picks up. But let's just see if we can hear them. It might be difficult for you, but let's give it a bash.
She's right here. Like she is so close to us right now. You can see, folks, that was incredible. To have Lula and Kalila trust us so much and move so close to us is amazing. Amazing. So you can see how differently this rhino's horn has been trimmed. It's been trimmed and the vets have had more time to smooth over this bull's horn. So his is very nicely rounded, whereas the girls, we were in quite a rush to get them loaded and moved and transported. He's unbelievably close. You can actually see the car even on it. Yeah, he's very close to us. Oh my goodness, golly gumdrops. Those are my legs, everybody. He's a lot larger than the girls.
I hope
We
us
were
sitting,
this close to 3 wild rhinos.
and I hope sitting quietly you actually got to hear them feeding and walking past us. That's
Amazing.
It's such a special sighting when you have a situation where wild animals trust you so much that you're not going to do anything funny with them being close to the car, and that they trust you enough just to walk right on by doing what they do every single day, not even really that interested in us.
Yeah.
I think we've had a great sighting with these rhinos. I think what we're going to do is try and get up towards those 2 cheetahs. They are walking north towards an area that we don't drive, so we're going to try our best to catch up with them. If we can't catch up with them, there's always the possibility we could come back to these rhinos, but they've really treated us this afternoon. I think we'll just leave them to continue their Christmas
Munching. Their Christmas munch. That was amazing. I almost felt emotional there. That was absolutely an incredible rhino sighting. So trusting, so special to watch when rhinos, when you park far away and they move close to you.
That's what you want. You
Yeah,
want them
sign of
to come
trust.
to you. You don't necessarily want to go to them and get too close to them like those distances that we were. But what we did is we parked far away from them and the rhinos came towards us and past us, and then we moved the car. So that's what you want. And we sat nice and still and quietly when they came close to the vehicle. What a special experience.
Absolutely.
Stations, I'm leaving the 3 white rhinos on the Boskamp airstrip to themselves. They're mobile north.
That location from Boskamp.
They're on the airstrip, mobile north, on the airstrip midway along.
Copy, thank you. Really going down.
Let's see. I think rhinos were an absolute treat. I would be quite happy with just the rhinos for a Christmas afternoon, but maybe we'll get lucky with something else too.
Yeah, hopefully we get up to those cheetahs. They are
In the corridor area.
moving and going towards the corridor which leads into
Kaya.
Kaya. And these are the 2 male cheetahs. They're a coalition. And with their normal movements, they do like to go up into Kaya. So I'm sure that's their plan. And that's why I would really like to go there, since we said that that's where they were and we were making our way there. Having had a really nice rhino encounter.
Special one, isn't it?
Woo. Andrew's just reminding me with some hints, nudge, nudge, hint, hint.
Wink, wink.
This week's
Keyword.
keywoo,
Keyword.
is woo.
Woo! It'll be on screen now.
And it's a beautiful photograph that Andrew took of a spotted eagle owl. If you are one of our pack members, and that is a pack member of Painteddog TV,
You're one of our patrons.
you're able to get access to this photograph. All you have to do is send woo, woo, to info@painteddog.tv.
The keyword will unlock the photo for you.
Yep.
You can expect that photo, I think, around the first week of January. So, yeah. That'll be a winning photo. It's beautiful. A nice one to have for the keyword collection, isn't it?
It is.
It is. Indubitably. It's good to be out.
It's a lovely time of day. It's been cooler. We mentioned it earlier that it was nice and cool this afternoon after the heat that we have been experiencing, as it is summer here. It's a nice time of day. Animals generally start moving about at this time of day, so there's always the chance that we could bump into something
Any luck with lions?
other than the 2 cheetahs that we're making our way up towards, if we are lucky and we get our timing right with them.
Hopefully.
But the temperature's really come off quite a lot in the last half an hour. And this is the time of day that you expect the big cats to start moving around. So leopard, lion, the cheetahs, we know that they're walking. Somebody's just left them and they are on the move. start moving at this time of day. During the heat of the day, they're trying to conserve as much energy as possible. And
What are you saying?
I just saw a tree that I thought maybe was something. So they've been conserving energy through the heat of the day, and now as it cools down, they're going to start moving. There's a little duiker.
I can copy your relay.
Sorry, it's wireless, like 26 minutes. And is there any chance for the Impala on Lowveld?
Negative so far as I'm aware.
Copy that, thanks very much.
So what I'm going to do right now, because we know those cheetah are walking up towards the corridors, I'm trying to get to the corridor as quick as possible, and then
Good plan.
we'll drive down the eastern fence line and we'll come down towards where the cheetah were. If we can't find the cheetah, it's probably because they've gone into the corridor already instead of going up behind them. I want to try and get ahead of them so we get potentially as much time with them as possible before they slip into the corridor and into an area that we can't get to.
Yeah, good plan.
I would say we're maybe about 5 minutes from there. Just pulling up my map.
Leaving the 4 white rhinos at the junction, Lotsen Road and Ledwood Drive unattended, 2 of them slowly heading towards Lotsen.
There's been quite a number of white rhino this afternoon.
They have.
Yeah,
So there's another sighting of white rhino that have been seen
quite far north.
a little bit further north from where we are now.
Oh, beautiful.
Stations, I'd like to respond to the 2 male cheetahs. I'm about 5 minutes out.
I'm excited to see these cheetah.
If we get them, hopefully.
Hopefully we get them. Keeping in keeping with yours and my Christmas traditions.
Spotty cats.
Spotty cats on Christmas Day. We're gonna have to morph it a little bit because the reality is it's unlikely we're gonna find a leopard today, although nothing's impossible.
Local location with these cheetahs. Last I heard was they were moving north from the eastern fence line into the block towards the corridor.
There's just an update on those cheetah. Just the last update was that they were moving into the corridor.
Maybe we'll get them, maybe we won't.
We'll see.
We will see. Time will tell.
If we don't get to the cheetahs in time, we'll see what else we can find this afternoon. We'll go and explore a little bit.
That's a plan. We were supposed to go into the Sunsloot.
Yeah, we could always
Then
do
we
that.
got-
It's not too far from here.
We got distracted by the possibility of spots. I love a spotty cat. I love a spotty animal, a genet, a civet, a cheetah, a leopard, a hyena. What other spotty animals do we have out here? A spotted eagle owl. Woo! Don't forget. What else? What other spots do we get? A spotted thickney, another nocturnal-ish bird.
Nocturnal bit.
Yeah. What else?
What does a giraffe classify as?
Splotches.
Splotchy, not spotty.
Giraffes are definitely not spotty. Spots are like, you have to make them equate to a Dalmatian. If it's not Dalmatian-like, then it's not a spot. A giraffe has splotches. Although a leopard technically doesn't have spots either. They have rosettes. Their spots don't look much like Dalmatians, do they?
Not at all.
Not at all, not one little bit. The rosettes of leopards are beautiful though. And you can be forgiven for thinking they're a spotty cat. We call them that all the time.
What I'm doing is when we go past junctions of roads, you might see me turn my head quite a lot and look down those roads. I'm just checking that there's nothing walking towards us or away from us at those junctions on other roads. Animals do tend to follow roads. It's a easy way for them to conserve energy. Walking along a road is a lot easier, as you can imagine, when you compare to walking through the bush, where you've got to walk around trees, through thick grass, over obstacles, where if you're walking down the road, it's pretty easy and you conserve energy doing so. So whenever we cross past junctions, I got a little bit of a tongue twist there. I do like to look down them and just take a second or a little sneaky glance just to make sure that there's nobody just within sight.
Makes sense. Junctions are also great places to check for tracks for that exact reason. Animals love to move on the roads, and if they've decided that they were going this way but at this junction they're turning this way, it's good to check for tracks to make sure if you're tracking something that you find the freshest and the correct tracks.
We've made it up to the corridor. Just want to look down this fence line first to see if there's anything there.
Nothing.
Anything down there?
Doesn't look like it.
Be on this back little alley.
Yeah,
This-
it's true.
Okay.
Nothing down there, right?
I think so. So we're just checking the two fences along the corridor. That isn't anything lying on the road down there, Andrew.
It's funny how when you...
Not. Have you checked that several times? And in front of us?
I think it's a puddle.
Check with stop.
It's just a puddle. Yeah, puddles. Reflections from
Okay.
the puddles.
Oh,
Oops. Our eyes are deceiving in this light.
just looking to see if there's any tracks here. So we can't go further that way. So we're just trying to rule out where they could have been, and then we'll go down the fence line and see if they have gone that way. And in the process, I'm just checking for tracks of these cheetahs, because if we find a track and they're going that way, we know that we're just a little bit late. And hopefully that's not the case.
Come on. Come on, cheetah brothers. We would love to see you.
There's no tracks there, Victoria.
Nothing yet. Well, there's lots of Impala tracks. Well done.
Okay, let's go down the fence a little bit and see. They were quite far from here when they were called in along a junction of a road. And it would have taken them a good effort. Well, it would have taken a good effort to get up here in the time since the person left. But just the fact that they said they're going north towards the corridor, and that I know that they like to come up this way, I wanted to get here quickly and check for tracks. And now we'll make our way down the fence and hopefully intercept them. If they haven't maybe walked on a game trail and we missed their tracks back there, but I did check along the game trail, so I have higher hopes that we shall see them along the fence.
Hopefully. There's a lot of rhino tracks on the road too, but of course we've seen lots of rhino. Well, we've seen three. Three beautiful rhino.
Just check for some tracks again along here. Okay, I can't see anything. You got anything there, Victoria?
Not that I can see just yet.
It's also getting a bit dark now to try and see tracks on the road. Nothing obvious, eh?
No, nothing obvious.
Okay, let's go down the fence line and see if we can find them. They may have also got distracted and seen a potential prey species and moved into the bush, so we're going to keep looking on the right hand side here. A rhino has walked down the road in the direction that we're going, so that's quite nice to know.
Good to know, yeah. The nice thing about this fence line is that the other side is also game reserve, so even though obviously we're searching on our side because we want to find our cheetahs, if we see something, or it's not impossible that we could also see something on the left-hand side of the fence, because it's also a protected area. You can you see it? I don't know.
You got it.
You
Just
see
about to
something.
comment that it is very far from the corridor.
Yeah, two cheetah! Bang it! Christmas spots, everybody!
We got them.
Well done, Andrew. I could see a funny shape, but Andrew was bang on when he said he could see cheetah in the road. I don't know, that's his young eyes.
Yeah.
Youthful eyes of Andrew. It's amazing what 5 years can do to eyesight.
I've got 20/20 vision.
in one eye. No, I'm just kidding.
That's so nice. I was thinking where we were at the corridor compared to where they were seen is quite a long way, and they would have been moving really quickly to get to the corridor from where they were, so this is great.
It's incredible how cool a Christmas cat is.
Okay, I'm going to stop just about over here. Yeah.
Stefan and Vicky off Lowbank.
Beautiful, everyone. So it looks like our cheetah brothers, Fence and Line. Line is sitting up and watching us. He's the one with the collar. Fence is lying down. They're not really interested in us at all. But they're alert. They're awake.
2 rhinos arrived at Nocturnal.
Perhaps they're looking for an opportunity to hunt.
Stations, I've relocated the 2 male cheetah. They're on the eastern fence line of Blowbank, just north of Renoster Ruta. They're stationary.
This is kind of maybe
10 minutes away.
Maybe a l-
Pulling for the 2 male cheetahs.
maybe a little bit too late in the evening for them to
Probably
hunt.
make your way as a second.
We've lost quite a lot of light. So, oh, they've got full bellies. Did you see that? Don't know if you managed to see that. You didn't notice.
It doesn't look like they're going to be going too far, so it's nice to
But you can.
have
Who's a little
found them
bit
when
more
we
late?
did.
I love it when they look at us like this. Pretty, aren't they? Oof. I thought he might flop over a little bit more dramatically, but he did that quite gracefully. You can see how they are lying. Cheetah males in a coalition will often lie back to back or face in different directions so that they cover more of their visual area to keep themselves safe. So they're unlikely to lie facing each other unless, of course, they're grooming one another. Usually it's a lot like this, sort of back to back, so that one of you covers 180 degrees and the other one covers the other 180 degrees. In this environment, obviously, the fence that joins or separates us from the next door neighbor reserve does eliminate half of the area that could be potentially dangerous to them. But they don't really know that. They'll treat everything that's on the east of the fence line, so the other side, exactly as they would if it was on their side. The only thing that they're a little bit more lenient with is other cheetahs that they're not related to, I think. But if they saw lions or something on the other fence, they would respond as though they would in the same way they would if the lions were on this side of the fence. Thankfully, there are no lions though, because cheetahs are quite vulnerable to bigger predators like lions. I mean, Gareth even had a sighting where a young male leopard has chased 2 cheetahs.
2 young male cheetahs that we were following through a block, and all of a sudden they dashed off, and on closer inspection we found a young male leopard who had chased them.
Which was fantastic because we actually hadn't seen that young male leopard in about 6 months. He had been AWOL, he'd been exploring because he was in his nomadic years, and we were all very fond of him because we'd watched him from a tiny cub and he'd grown up, and we'd named him and would, really recorded and documented every part of his life that we could. And then he vanished and we were all quite upset about it. But it just goes to show that, cheetahs really are at the bottom of the predator pecking order. If they can be chased by a young male leopard, then they can be chased by pretty much anything. They're looking beautiful. They're in great condition. And they're spotted, much like a Dalmatian. So we've won the Christmas Day. The Christmas Day task is completed.
So for any of you that may be watching this for the first time or a little bit unfamiliar of the animals of the Rietspruit Game Reserve, these are the 2 male cheetahs that are seen on the Rietspruit Game Reserve. We also have a female cheetah, and she has a female cub that's just over a year old now.
We had another female cheetah and cub, but they haven't been seen for a couple of months, so we're not entirely sure of their whereabouts. The reality is, in a wild system like this, if you haven't seen them for a few months, the likelihood of them still being alive is, well, nothing is guaranteed. The wild is the wild, but it's looking unlikely that they're still on our reserve. I mean, you never know. The reserve, there is obviously a reserve next door, and they definitely could have slipped through the fence. So we won't assume the absolute worst, but because we haven't seen them, we're not sure that they're on our reserve. These guys are vital for the genetic diversity of the cheetah population. They are, one of them is the father of the cub of our female cheetah who we see regularly. At least, well, definitely one of them. but they will continue to breed with the females on this reserve. And then the offspring are part of a population, what do we call it?
It's a meta-population.
Yes, but what is the... Yeah, so the Metapopulation Initiative is the organization that handles the movement of wild cheetahs so that they can remain genetically diverse.
Joining in a second, 2 male cheetahs.
Another vehicle is coming in from the back. So if you see some bright lights, that's why. We're going to enjoy as much light as we possibly can of the last of the daylight with these cheetahs, but then we're going to have to leave them because we don't shine spotlights on diurnal animals, animals awake during the day, which a cheetah very much is. So as long as the camera is helping us see these beautiful cheetah, and that's the beauty of these cameras, is they give us so much to work with. But yeah, once we lose a little bit more light, we'll carry on and see what nocturnal species we can find. What do you think? You can see the other car just coming in to say hi. He's looking a little bit snoozy, isn't he? But he's alert. And the male looking in the other direction. Nighttime is a tricky time for cheetahs because their eyesight is not as good as the other cats, the big cats. So they've got to remain vigilant and keep their wits and wiles about them so that they can stay safe through the night. And then daytime is their time to shine. Literally.
Before we lose all of the light for today, it's important with me saying this just to point this out. The camera is doing a phenomenal job at showing you these cheetahs right now. It's a lot darker in reality, and you can see there's a lot of pixelation on the camera as we're using higher ISO to bring you these images. But just quickly to show you something that it's standing out for me at the moment are the claws on the male cheetah on the right hand side there. So a lot of the cats have retractable claws, and you can see on this male cheetah his claws are not retracted, and that is just one of the key features of a cheetah where they differ from other cats, is they do not have retractable claws. That helps them when they're running really quickly. Their top speed is around 110 kilometers an hour, just to stabilize themselves, not too dissimilar to that of the spikes of a 100 or 200 meter sprinter.
They actually also have grooves on their pad. That's like the traction, is that what you'd call it, on a tire? So more than other cats, they have quite undulating pads. They have grooves on the pads of their feet, which, like Gareth was saying, also aids in traction. So they are very uniquely designed for speed.
Okay, everybody, I think we're going to spend another 5 minutes with them before we move off. So
Can we?
enjoy
Until it gets dark.
enjoy these two male cheetahs, and then we'll go and see if we can find something with our spotlight.
Yeah, good idea.
a nocturnal species for the last half an hour of drive. With cooler weather this afternoon, there's a good possibility that we get some nocturnal animals moving about. Okay, just going to move quickly so this vehicle can pass us.
That's so funny how everything's dark except for our bright Christmas hats. Woohoo! I'm elfing now.
We'll wait for them to come past and then we'll get the last sort of look at them and carry on.
Hi there. Have a good evening.
Yes.
Good, well, thank you. Shop, bye. Now it's getting dark.
I think those pictures just show you how dark it really is getting at the moment. So we'll take a last minute or so with these boys and then see if we can find anything on our way back towards camp under the cover of darkness with the use of the spotlight.
Maybe we'll get an owl tonight. That would be nice. A Christmas owl. Or what else can we look for?
Maybe
Janet.
we find Janet or scrub hares. Maybe we'll get a bigger cat than these two.
A big
Lion or leopard moving about.
On a honey badger.
We could
Yeah.
find things like honey badgers or porcupines. There's also the possibility of some of the smaller meso carnivores that we get on the Rietspruit. Well, honey badger would fall into that category, but jackals, servals, caracals, wild cats. So
Last station, can you please repeat the lock of the cheetah?
these are all animals that are active at night time, and that's what we go and look for. And what we don't do is shine the light on diurnal species like cheetahs or impalas, rhinos, elephants.
Just because their eye structure can't really handle it. So different eye structure helps with different capacity for
The two
lighting.
male cheetahs are on the eastern fence line of Blowbunk, north of Rhino. They're stationary.
Sorry, I just stopped there while Gareth was chatting, but just quickly, the eye structure of diurnal and nocturnal animals is quite different. Nocturnal animals, so our eyes, if you consider human eyes, we have rods and cones in our eyes, and rods are responsible for our depth perception, so our grayscale, how far away things are, the depth. And then cones are responsible for the colors that we are seeing. And cones are quite sensitive to the light, in fact very sensitive to the light. So if a light is flashed directly in your eyes, it's actually primarily the cones that are responding. And then the diurnal animals like the cheetah or wild dogs or elephants or whatever else is awake during the day, they respond really negatively to a spotlight because their eyes have rods and cones. But then if you talk about something like lions, they have very few cones in their eyes, and so they are a lot less sensitive to the direct light of the spotlight. So we can shine on animals like lions, but we can't shine on animals like cheetah. The dogs have just been found on the other end of the reserve, so that's pretty cool. Maybe we can go in search of them at some point. Another day.
All right, everybody, I think we're going to leave these two cheetahs to continue with their evening. And we'll see if we can find anything else on our way back towards camp. Okay. I'm gonna go past these two boys, try and give them as much space as we can. There's quite a bit of space on the side of the road here.
Beautiful.
Thanks for giving us a nice little show there, boys.
They're in lovely condition. They look wonderful. Let's see what else we can find. Gareth?
I did, yeah, there was a branch as I pulled it out.
Leaving it to open lock.
Oh, there is an owl. It just flew off of the
Ooh.
fence up ahead of us.
Ooh. Woo. Hopefully we find it. Or another one. Oh, that's a tricky one.
I'm not even going to attempt it, Andrew.
Andrew's asking us to do the spotted eagle owl calls. And while sometimes we have them in camp, how do they sound? They're like, we should play the call.
I think that's a braver.
A braver idea, or not a brave
well,
idea.
it's not brave, but
It's a quiet cop out. That's nice, love. Well done. Well done, Gareth. Ooh, ooh. Okay, let me see if I can get it.
not too long ago, Andrew saw a serval in this area.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Maybe a couple of weeks ago. A serval is a small cat.
Okay, you ready for the eagle owl call?
It's not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
I'll just go a little bit slower through here.
The drainage lines.
A little bit of erosion.
Like something that you cannot experience from home is the smell of the terminalia bush. This time of the year, the terminalia bush is
Tree.
flower or tree. It's a tree, yeah.
It's a tree.
It's a tree. It's pretty smelly. It's it smells like the worst rotten foot smell ever. If you take your socks off and you've been wearing them for 6 days, and then you multiply that by 10, that's what the terminalia bush smells like, or tree smells like. It's very pungent. First time I ever smelt it was on a game reserve, and I actually thought, this is so embarrassing now, but I actually thought that I had stumbled across an APU, an anti-poaching unit base, because it smelled so bad. And I was like, that's got to be a human smell. It's got to be feet. They've got to have walked through the river and had like smelly, wet, damp feet. But I was very wrong. It was just a plant. I know, how embarrassing, right?
Oh dear.
Oh dear. It was long ago. I was just a baby. Or just a baby guide, at least. Things have changed a little since then. Now I know exactly what that smell is.
It's approaching Wildbrook Dam. You've got one Wildbrook on your left now, directly abeam your left.
Niles.
Station talking Lowveld Dam. Over.
I'd really like to see a serval.
A serval would be amazing.
And with Andrew having seen one here a couple of weeks ago, it always gives me hope. And since we are on the spotty cat wish list of Christmas,
Yes.
adding another one to our sightings this afternoon would be really special.
It would be cool.
They're
Ooh.
quite a bit smaller than a cheetah, but if I were to compare them to anything, they're pretty similar to cheetah in their appearance, like a miniature version of them. But they hunt birds and rodents mostly.
Generally, they like open areas, but Rietspruit doesn't have that many open areas. I think the last serval sighting was actually on the airstrip where the three rhinos were earlier on in the drive. So
So that's where Andrew saw them.
it would make sense to have serval there, wouldn't it? Perfect serval habitat. A civet would also be a fun one, wouldn't it? It's not quite as elegant as a serval, but it would be a fun nocturnal one to see. Andrew would like us to find an aardvark, which is a pretty tricky thing to find. I haven't actually seen one in the wild, which is saying something. An ant bear.
That would be a special sighting, but that's something that we'd probably expect to find more in winter when the temperatures are cooler and the day length is shorter.
Maybe it would be a Christmas miracle.
If we did see one, I think it would be a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, it's unlikely now. This is not the time of the year to find aardvark, but maybe next year, maybe next season.
Something else that we could keep an eye out for is chameleons.
Chameleon. It would be fun. Fun to see a flat-necked chameleon. In this area, we only get one species, the flap-necked chameleon. And it's far easier to see them in the summer months. They like the warm weather. All reptiles like the warm weather. And also much easier to see them after dark, only because they pick up really nicely on the spotlight. So they reflect back beautifully, which means we can actually spot them easier than you think. It looks like a magic trick when you spot a chameleon, because people don't understand how on earth you spotted a green thing in a green bush. But the reality is they have a totally different reflection, so it's actually quite easy.
So I wonder if coming back this way we'll see those rhinos again. I was thinking of going back along the sun slit, but I just thought since we're in the area and we were talking about spotty cats earlier, that we would come back in this direction and have a look for the serval. There's always a chance we see those rhinos again that we saw this afternoon.
You never know.
But if we do see them, I'm just going to let you know, we're not going to stop. We're not going to put the light on them. We did have a great sighting of them
A beautiful sighting.
about an hour ago, so we don't need to disrupt them in any way.
I had an amazing sighting of rhino in this area a few weeks back when there were, I think it was 9 different individuals,
Sure.
which is pretty off the charts for any reserve, not just our reserve, but I was very impressed. It was beautiful. Lula and Kalula were of the 9 rhino in the area.
It looks like they're still
They
here.
are here. I can see those shapes.
I wonder if we... I doubt it.
What were you wondering?
I'm wondering if we switch our lights off and we try and get a bit of a silhouette of the
There.
rhino there. So I'm just gonna, you can see the rhino,
Stop, 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 stop. Try that.
but let's see. If we open up the exposure.
Quite tricky.
Nah. I thought it was standing. I'm just gonna shine briefly just so that you can see where it is. There's the rhino. I was hoping that maybe with the sky next to the Drakensberg we could get a nice silhouette, but
It's not to be.
that is not the case, so we'll continue. All 3 of them are still here. You want a spotlight for us,
Sure.
Victoria?
No problem. We're actually looking more for eye shine than we are for an actual shape. We can see the shape of these rhinos, but it's because we knew they were here. They could have moved, but we had a good idea that they would be roughly where we left them.
Enjoying the nice short grass here.
Yeah. So now we are looking for anything with eye shine, which I guess means anything.
I've got a bug in my shirt.
No way.
One of the perils of driving open vehicles in summer with the lights on the car are the insects like to come towards the light, and this one has gone right down the front of my shirt
Do you want to
and it's crawling
sort
around.
it out?
I think I've lost it now. Some nights are worse than others, especially after recent rain. You get all these insects flying up towards the lights of the car. And we don't have windshields and it's a closed car, so we do get this effect of
We're
getting
very attractive.
bombarded by insects. Tonight is not too bad though, luckily.
Tonight is very benign.
Yeah.
Actually a lovely cool evening. Summer doesn't often afford us any cool evenings. Beautiful evening. Well, we're gonna have to fetch our camera trap on one of our next drives, aren't we?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do, I think it's in a really good spot to catch animals moving in the riverbed.
Yeah.
And I think what the best
Leave it for
idea
a
that
few
we
more
could do
days.
is just go and remove the SD card and change it, put another one in there and see what we can get in the next couple of weeks, leave it in that position. And we've put it up in a really good spot for leopards.
Hopefully.
And the longer you leave these camera traps or trail cams or trap cameras, whatever you want to call them, the higher your chances are of capturing something interesting.
That's good.
So we'll go and have a look, get the SD card, replace it, leave the camera out there, check the batteries are fine, that's important. And then have a look at what's on the camera.
We have got some Impala. We will not shine on them for the reasons discussed earlier.
What's that way? Anything?
No. Nothing more up here. Oh, our lions are AWOL. Maybe they're on hoofbutt. We drove hoofbutt though. Oh no, we didn't. Wouldn't that be something?
We are starting to descend down towards the sun slit. We're coming off the crest and going down sort of into the valley of this drainage line. Sort of a little river. It doesn't have water all year round.
Sometimes.
Only when there's a lot of rain does this little drainage line flow. It's bigger than a drainage line though, so yeah, it is a river. But as we come down here, the habitat changes slightly. And this is when you might find a few more things, especially things like bush babies, thick-tailed bush babies in particular.
Great.
You get into the bigger trees along drainage systems, you tend to see them more often. Those are some primates that we see. Really little ones. They're
Little
about
primates,
this
yeah.
big. The small ones, the lesser galago, and then the thick-tailed bush babies are about that big. So maybe we get something like that down here. Also, drainage lines are really good spots for leopard and lion. They like to follow drainage lines. So coming off the crest that we're driving on and dropping down into the lower spots in the reserve is always a good option at this time of day to see if we get lucky with some of the lesser seen species as well as some of the big charismatic predators.
Amazing as how you descend, you get a bit cooler. As you head towards the drainage line, it's definitely chillier. Is chillier a word? More chilly.
It's rather nice.
It is.
Oh, there's an
Ow,
owl.
ow, 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 ow. You did?
Let's see if it's...
There it is, it's landed.
There we go. There looks to be a spotted eagle owl.
We got it. Ooh. That's amazing. What a cool drive. So far, everything we've asked for. Oopsie. We've been lucky with.
Look at those big eyes.
Beautiful big eyes. All the better to see you with. That's amazing.
In case you missed it, this is a spotted eagle owl. Look how it rotates its head around constantly. They can't move their head right around, but they've got a huge range of motion. And something quite interesting about owls is they don't really move their eyes much in the sockets at all. And that's why they're able to move their head as much as they do. Their eyes are set, they're pretty much fixed. So they move their heads constantly around to see their surroundings. But I think we're going to leave the spotted eagle owl to it. We don't want to keep the light on it for too much longer. And we want to see if we can find anything along the sun slit for the last little bit of drive.
Very cool though.
Nice to get our keyword for the week.
Well, it's not, keyword for the next 10 days.
The photograph of the week.
Owl.
Maybe we'll pop into Kudu Krip here and just have a quick look, see if there's anything drinking from the little water hole.
Giraffe.
Oh. There is a giraffe in front of us. You can just see it there briefly. We're not going to keep the light on it, just see it in the headlights of the car. It's a nice addition to our list for the afternoon. There's one right next to us.
But a big fright, didn't I? They did. That second one, I didn't expect it for some reason. Gosh, a fright. It doesn't take a lot to give me a fright though. I'm easily spooked.
Giraffe are animals that we see during the day quite a bit, and that's why we're not stopping with them now at night. We don't want to impair their vision at night time with the spotlight. That is why we just drove past, in case you were wondering why we didn't stop much.
I'm looking out for bush babies now.
There's a little scrub hare. Is it going to stay for us a little bit?
I don't want to shine too
It's
much.
one of our nocturnal species that we view a little bit at night. I don't like to keep the light on them for too long, because you never know where one of those owls is sitting watching. But it's run off into the thicker stuff there. So that's a scrub hare.
A nice little scrub hare, wasn't he?
Have to see if we get a Another one sitting in the open somewhere. Spend a little bit longer with it to see it better, maybe chat a bit more about one. Just aside, check down the drainage line.
Always.
Leopards do like to walk up and down them.
You like to check for leopards.
The elephants have been here. There's a couple of trees down on the road. The elephants have pushed them down recently. Okay, we're getting close to this water hole, so let's see. Maybe something's having a evening drink.
Nobody's here.
There's nothing happening.
I think there's some frogs.
There's something in front of us. Yeah, so Andrew thought he heard something, and now that we've switched the car off, in front of us we can hear something maybe scraping. Let's go a little bit closer to the tree line there and just have a quick look. It's a bit thick here, so we're just going to get to the edge, have a scan with the spotlight. By the sounds of it, if it is anything and not just the wind blowing, it might be elephant or rhino moving through the thickets. I can't hear anything else.
No, me neither.
So there is the crib in front of us, the little water hole.
It's less important this time of the year because all of the dams and other natural water sources have been filled by the rain. So animals are very dispersed, but we really enjoyed this crib when it was the dry season because it was one of the only water points on the entire reserve. So animals used to make a habit of coming down to this crib, all the animals.
Where the elephants have been, you can see that tree knocked over the road. There's enough space for us to get around it.
Squeeze through.
Let's see if we can find anything for the last 5 minutes of drive quickly. Just to add to Victoria's point there, these little water points across the reserve are vital to animals in the dry season because we don't have any permanent water. There's no rivers
That flow
or hold water for very long periods of time. So we've got these little water holes which we pump. And as the dry season during our winter extends, our dams, which fill up naturally, they empty. There's another owl flying away.
tricky to see. Oh, he's right here.
Oh, there it goes
And
again.
he's gone. been
And then
treated.
those water points become a really important part for wildlife in the landscape, because the animals mostly need to drink every day or every couple of days. And they'll make their way to those water holes. And a couple of months ago, before the rain, not even a couple of months, about a month ago before the rain, you would often find rhinos drinking there, lots of impalas around the water hole. We kept looking at water holes in the evening at this time for leopard, trying to get a glimpse of one. But now that it's rained and the dams are filled back up and there's water across the landscape, those little water points are less important for animals, because they can drink from little puddles, little water holes, seasonal pans that form. And then as it dries, those artificial water points become important. Looks like maybe an elephant broke this branch off of this marula tree.
The ellies have definitely been in this area, but they haven't been seen today.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That brings us to the end of this Christmas drive.
Yeah.
It was a lovely start with the rhinos on the airstrip, and we managed to get the 2 male cheetahs. So Victoria got her spots for Christmas. I hope all of you had a wonderful time along with us this afternoon. And we're going to go off into the night, and we wish you a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye from all of us at Painteddog.